Sunday afternoon again. It's really warm outside. With all the goings on, the in-person training happening next week, we're in week 7 in hydraulics is going to be going on at the same time. And while that's on my mind, there's quite a bit to do in there, and I'll go over some of it in just a few. But I'm going to give you some extra time. That doesn't mean, you know, to relax, but we will be busy in Oklahoma City, and in those of you down in Georgia, I'm sure the same. So get what you can do, hit and miss. There's an assignment in hydraulics. I'm going to go over that a little bit. There's a tailgate in hydraulics, and I'll go over that also. There's, let's see, I don't think there's a tailgate in erosion. But there are some things we're going to do. But let's just start with what's going on in hydraulics while the in-person is also taking place. So let me get back to, is this the beginning? Yes. So that's some really good information that I'm not going to cover, but there's some good reading at the very beginning of this chapter, the first page in particular. This right here, I won't go over it unless we stumble across it, but it's just good reading. I don't think I have really any questions on that, but I do have, you can expect some questions on some other things, such as these types of hydraulic systems. I really want you not to have a thorough understanding because we haven't dealt with valves yet, and valves are an integral part of these systems. We will mention them. I'll briefly describe it, and we'll move on to there. I'm going to ask you some essay questions pertaining to B. I'm going to ask you to just briefly, and I use the word briefly, describe the open loop system, and you can see that they're ideal for linear operations, which we blade, bucket, mold board, etc. And the open loop hydraulic system is ideal for those kinds of things, for linear type movement of the actuator. The pump supply, let me get this up a little bit, and instead of reading it as you can read it, this is the, in an open loop system, we do have a directional control valve. We can shut it off here in a closed loop. Right there means it's closed. Or we can open this, close this, open this. Is that what I said? Open this and close that. But primarily, for what we do, and it's got a motor, that tells you something right there. This is not a linear actuator, is it? This is a motor. It's a rotary motion. So it's going to need a continuous flow. The reservoir holds the hydraulic oil. Now keep in mind, there is atmospheric pressure, just like on a jar. It'll try to, of water, it'll try to find its own level. A lot of people, carpenters in the old days, used the jar in the center of the floor of the kitchen to set the kitchen cabinets, and had a tube and run over here, and that water would find its level, whatever it is in here. So you've got atmospheric pressure helping you get this reservoir up to the vacuum, which is caused by the pump. Then the pump grabs it, starts pulling it out of there, and then you start your pushing the fluid, and then it comes into this valve. And in this case, we would want it to keep moving, going over, still under pressure here. But once it goes past this motor, we have that pressure differential where it continues to flow, but it flows the pressure it receives is mostly resistance, because it's going to a vented hydraulic tank. It's not going to build up much pressure on this side. So that's your open loop. And really, I just want you to know this much up here. You can describe as much as you want to, but I'm not asking for much. I want to know you read about it, and that you have, and if you have a question, jot that down. But I'm just looking for brief answers. Let me know you're reading this. And there's a closed loop, which is primarily your hydrostatic drives, and I want you to know about that. And because they're in a closed system, in other words, you've got continuous flow, and you can change that flow. Here, let me show you this picture. Here is I believe this is the pump. Uh, it could be that this is the pump. But you notice there's a shaft here, so I'm assuming there's a motor that drives this pump now, and this would be something like a final drive, or it could be that this is the pump doesn't have an arrow pointing to it, and I'm not familiar with either of these. But when you have this system going on, you have to have a reversible pump. I think it says that. So it's used to mostly drive systems. Let's see if we can get it. You see, it's just pressurized on, it's going on this way, and if you reverse it, it'll be going this way. And this indicates that it's adjustable in some form or another. In this case, it's reversible. So if you want to go forward, perhaps you would switch a lever that controls the pump to where it's flowing in this direction, and the desired direction would be determined by the impeller inside the pump. Which way does the pump need to go to get more power rather than in reverse, perhaps. Then we have another system called, there are two, open and closed center system. What it says, an open center system, they have oil flowing through their directional control valves at all times. When the actuators aren't being supplied oil, the pump flow is returned to the tank. And we don't even have a symbol for a tank here, but there will be a tank at some point on all of these. These systems usually have fixed displacement pumps that always pump oil when they are rotating, the pump that is. An open center directional control valve is depicted here. So can't go here, but you can go here and you can go here. So it's got a directional control valve, and it's open here in the center. Like it said, it keeps moving, and then you turn this valve, this will open. Move the lever, the control lever, and this will open, and then it will shut down. That's a real, sounds like one of those disclaimers on the pharmaceutical ads. The guy says about 100 words in 30 seconds. But I'm just wanting you to emphasize that. Just see if you can understand this. We will return to all of these systems before we're through here and dive a little deeper into both the system and these valves. Then we have the closed center. That's the open center. We have the closed center, which you're done here unless you open a valve. You're done here. You got to go through one of these valves. Let's see what it says. Directional control valves block the oil flow and only redirect it when there's a request. What would be a request? Move the control lever. A solenoid valve, that would say, I need some fluid because I need to do something. So you control when it gets fluid. And the request is like either low pressure or you moving a control or an automatic solenoid kicking in. So that's your closed. Now it talks about where these things are used, and that's when I'm going to get into the tailgate momentarily. What's this kind of activity? What kind of actuator is that? Linear, right? It goes this way, it goes that way, and it controls the attitude, I believe, of these teeth. And you can see there's two of them. This one raises the ripper up and down. It's also linear. Looks like a loader to me. And let's pick it up. Here is your dump, close, linear, and then you have, we can't see them, but there they are. There's one. Lift cylinders down here. They're linear for open and close. Here's a backhoe, linear, right? Linear for the lift. What does this do? It controls the bucket. You can't see the bucket. There it is. This controls the bucket. This controls the dipper arm. They're all linear here, right? So let's keep moving. Here, these each have a cylinder for lifting and lowering, right? They don't just flop down. They're lowered down. But it's all this would require an open loop system, and the control would be the valve that tells the fluid where to go. And here's a different one right here. What kind of setup would you have to have here? What would be your actuator here? Rotary, because it has to move this belt like this. So the linear is not going to work. You would need a hydraulic motor to operate this guy. What about this one? There it is. There's your hydraulic motor. It have the fluid going this way, you're lowering. This way, you're raising. I'm assuming there's something out here, a boom. I don't know if this is a crane or not, but I do see a cylinder here, and I'm not sure what that would be doing. But anyway, I do know this is a winch, and this is a motor for that winch, and it would require rotary action, not linear, to move this, and your pump would be reversible, so it would retract or wind it in and extend, wind it out. So these are going to be used in your tailgate, and what I want you to do is tell me, look at this right here. He's boring, so that requires rotary. He's got linear, that's his attitude. Otherwise, his up and straightness, up and down, is controlled by linear, but the auger is controlled by rotary. So you got a lot going on here. Over here, you have the boom, the boom right here. You have the stick control right here. These are all linear. Tell me what in that tailgate. Tell me what's moving. Like the boom is linear, the stick or dipper arm is linear control, and the bucket is linear control. This one is rotary. The actual auger has a linear control for plumbness, I think it's called, and it has linear lifts over here. But there's something that you can't see on this excavator here, and what's that? What makes that excavator cab swing left and right? A motor, and it's hidden. Most people don't even know it's there, unfortunately, but it's right down in this open spot. As you're climbing up, you can see it right down there. It also has a dipstick, and it has oil in it. And if you didn't know that, I hope you didn't go to our school. I hope you didn't know it from somewhere else. But that's important to know, that it has a dipstick, it has a motor that activates that. So what kind of flow would you need for that? Rotary, of course. So you got like different kinds of systems all on one piece of equipment. And when we get to the, here's tons of them right here. All of this up and down, most likely linear. boom up, down, front bucket open, close, linear. Uh, Pavers, gosh, they got a belt to, I'm thinking of a ripper or trimmer, I think, but I'm thinking of a belt that shoots the, when they a miller machine picks up the old pavement and shoots it out, and there's maybe a truck or somebody coming along with a loader to pick up uh, the asphalt, loose asphalt that has been trimmed off, or loose dirt that's been trimmed. Uh, I think they're talking about a scraper here, so you visualize a scraper. Uh, it some it has one uh, uh, rotary requirement, and that's if it's a paddle wheel scraper, right? The rest is linear. You need to know all this stuff. Now, don't get too panicky about the assignments, and I'm going to give you some extra days during week 8, a couple extra days to get you back home, get you settled down. And I've made these uh, modules not so taxing. Let's look at, I want to look at this, I'm going to here, this uh, tailgate. Here's what I just got through talking about. I want you to go to that page where we were in the ebook, and I want you to look at all that equipment and just talk like I talk for me. You know, write it down in your discussion. Go back and forth with each other. Look for these kind of things. What was doing things all at once? You had simultaneous activities on that boring machine, which was on an excavator uh, uh, cab, and it had both linear and rotary flow going on, or activating. With the auger was rotary, with the plumb cylinder was linear, and of course on swinging the cab you had rotary. So be thorough. Uh, don't spend an hour on this. Just, you know, what comes to your mind, write it down. Look at the picture, write it down. That picture's on page 551. Now, want to cover a little bit from soils. So this is some things on the in-person. You may know of this. I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak for Georgia, but I'm sure you will be busy. Georgia usually puts on quite a show. Uh, and sometimes it's a lot going on. Sometimes it's not. It depends on who you can get to come out to the site or let you go to theirs. But I'll go over what's going on in Oklahoma City, and you can remind yourself, just go in here. And this is kind of the overview for the in-person lab. So the agenda is we're going to be there on the 24th. That's a Thursday. And we will finish up on Saturday, 3 p.m., something like that, hopefully. Uh, so it's Thursday through Saturday. When you arrive, you're going to be there. I need you to be there at 7 o'clock because we do have a field site visit with Crossland Construction, uh, South May Avenue. I don't have the address. If you want it, I'll send it to you. Just ask me. But we're going to meet at the classroom facility at 6101 West Reno Avenue. If you went to the Oklahoma City campus, you will find that. If you have a GPS, you will find it. If you can't find it, give me a call. Tell me where you are, and I'll bring you in. So Thursday afternoon, we'll 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 probably be out at Crossland sites. I'm hoping they're going to spend a good bit of time with us to take us around. I believe they're putting BMPs in place, or they are in place, or they're planning. Either one of those will work as long as they'll let us in on it and talk to us about it. So Thursday afternoon, we're going to see a couple of videos, and they're pretty good. I have got them timestamped, so we don't have to watch stuff that we don't need to know or we already know. So this one is going to be just basic. This comes from Oklahoma City, the city of Oklahoma City. They came out and talked to us the last time we was up there, but there's no need for that. Show the video. We'll talk about it. This is stormwater requirements in general. This one right here, I really want you to pay attention to because we're going to make one of these sweeps, they call them. That's a stormwater pollution prevention plan. Actually, our crane site, it has been permitted. It has a sweep. I designed it. Scott, the other instructor up there, actually put things in place, but it's pretty flat there. So we have the Canadian River, but we also have plenty of vegetation providing a buffer between any kind of earth, surface disturbing activity. And I also have made up some handouts to help us not necessarily follow the video, but these handouts I made while watching the video. I jotted down this, and it talks about what Monica Walls is the gal that's going to discuss the sweep. And I want us to really get a handle on how to put these sweeps together. And then there are some drawings that I also have, and I have some I'll give to you. And I don't know if I've got them in Canvas there as far as gigabits or bytes or things. Are pretty big, but we'll have them there. And we're going to go through these. Check dams are one of the items, but it also talks about drains and things that you will see in another adventure we're going to do while we're up there. So drains and things have different needs as opposed to just bare earth runoff, and we've talked about some of those things. And so we'll talk about them again. We'll look at drawings. It is unbelievable how much time and effort goes into these on-site, built on-site, I call them BMPs, such as a stone check dam. It is unbelievable. They have such things as the stone size and how large is the stone, and how they call D50. That means 50% of the stones need to be smaller and 50% needs to be, it's just unreal. We will touch on that. We will talk about that. But if you're still here when it comes around to the course in basic soil science, you will know a lot about particle size distribution and AASHTO and unified soil classification when and if you get through that course. It is a really good course, and it lets you do what you didn't think you can do. So I always look forward to doing that course. But anyway, we will talk a little bit about these BMPs that are built on site. We'll try to get another field site visit if it can be arranged, and if it'll be worth it. Might be worth it just to break the flow a little bit. Otherwise, we're going to spend some time out at the field site. We basically have two field sites in Oklahoma City that are separated, one for the crane, one for the heavy equipment. So we're going to be on the heavy equipment side, and we're going to assess that field site as if we were going to request a permit. You don't request a permit and then ask them to come out and inspect the site. What you do is you inspect the site and you draw up your sweep, and you decide what you're going to do where and why you're going to do it and what you're going to use for this situation, and all of where you're going to store your diesel tank, and what you're going to do to what BMP or preventive measures you're going to take. So from that assessment, we're going to get out a sheet of paper. We'll probably take some notes while we're out there. We're going to sketch the field site that we're on out there. I've been on it many, many times and have talked about what if we had to put BMPs there, so I already have some ideas. But we're going to look for things like the significant contour changes and other topographical consideration. That field actually flows north, east to west, as well as north to south. So it'll help us to decide something. If I've always thought we needed a detention pond or a sediment basin where that we could clean out every once in a while, but we will take note of those kinds of things as well. Uh, there are, uh, and I want your maps before you leave if we can get them. If not, I want you to continue to work on them after the in-person training, and try to get them roughly done. We're not after perfection here. Saturday, come back to the classroom for facility. James Seary is in your classes. He's an inspector. He was trained through the EPA uh, class to be an inspector. So I've asked him to join us both for, even though he's one of our instructors, but he's already had the erosion control course. So he's just going to help us assess with the site assessment. Hopefully he can come there. He'll probably be able to join us for the Crossland visit, as he does a lot of work at night driving a truck. He works for Schwartz Paving, I think. Uh, anyway, it'll be good to have him aboard, and so he'll be around Saturday to let us kind of final up our sweeps if that needs to be done, and answer questions that we might have. You may go over the process for obtaining a permit, which we haven't really gone over yet, which is not an easy choice. You have to file a notice of intent that you're going to do some constructing at the site, and you have to pay them a little money. Uh, you have to get your sweep done and turned in to them, and then at some point they will come out and see that you've done the things you said you would do. So it will be probably not like going to Disneyland or to a water park, but I hope we will get something out of it. Temperature is going to be pretty stifling up there as it is here, and we will work around that, and we will hydrate, or we will come into the classroom if it gets unbearable. But we want to get as much as out in the field done as we can. Not sure what background you two guys that are from Oklahoma City, Jason and Jason, I don't know how much equipment use you've had, but if we have some time and you needed to freshen up a little bit on your operating skills, we'll see if we can have some access on Saturday, and we're working with equipment. So there it is, guys. And that's going to conclude, I believe, our video. So if you have questions, give me a call. Anything about finding the classroom. Also, if you want to review what we're going to do and when we're going to do it, look on your Canvas. Go to the Week 7 in-person lab overview, and you'll find all this there. And thanks for listening. See you next Thursday.